You woke up at 3 in the morning last week. Maybe it was Tuesday, maybe it was Thursday, and you lay there in the dark staring at the ceiling with no reason you could name. Just that feeling, that presence of something unfinished, something waiting. Take a breath right now, a real one. Let your shoulders drop, because what I'm about to tell you is not something I want you to hear with a tense body. I want you to receive it the way you receive something you already knew but had no words for. You have prayed, you have believed, you have tried, and yet something in your life still feels like it's pressing against a glass ceiling you cannot see and cannot break through. Like you're standing just outside a light that everyone else seems to be standing inside. If that's where you are tonight, then this video did not find you by accident. Before we go any further, tell me, where in the world are you watching this from? Write your city, write your state, write your country in the comments right now. Not because I'm asking you to comment on a video, but because you are marking the moment you showed up for yourself. And if this channel has ever brought something real into your life, subscribe now. Not as a favor to me, but as a promise to yourself that you will not walk this path alone. One more thing before I say another word. Most people who try what I'm about to share notice something unusual on the first or second night. But it is on the third night that something happens that I need to prepare you for. And I will tell you exactly what that is before this video ends. The real problem is not that God isn't listening. The problem is that you are handing Him noise. Every night, in the last minutes before sleep, most people feed their minds a diet of arguments they're still rehearsing, bills they can't stop counting, and the blue light of a screen that tells the brain it's still noon. And then they wonder why they wake up depleted, why their prayers feel like they bounce off the ceiling, why the dreams they do remember are scattered and meaningless. Here is what the science confirms and what the ancient traditions have always known. The moment between wakefulness and sleep, that soft, dissolving threshold, is the single most receptive window in the human nervous system. The prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that doubts, that edits, that guards, it goes quiet. The wall comes down. And whatever you place at the entrance of that threshold enters you more deeply than anything you could absorb while awake. Most people throw their worst thoughts through that door. Tonight, I want to show you how to choose what crosses it. There is a practice, simple enough to do in 2 minutes, old enough to predate every institution you have ever trusted, that begins with nothing more than a pen and your own left hand. It does not require you to be a mystic. It does not require you to have perfect faith. It requires only that you know the day you were born, and that tonight, before you close your eyes, you are willing to write it down. What I am going to walk you through is a convergence of three things. What neuroscience now confirms about intention and sleep. What numerological and spiritual traditions across centuries have preserved about the power of your birth date. And what happens, specifically, night by night, when you begin to enter sleep as a conscious act rather than a collapse. Go to the comments right now and write 2 words, I receive. Not because I need to read it, but because the act of writing it is already the first gesture of everything I'm about to teach you. You are beginning right now. Sleep is a river, and most people fall into it face first, surprised, unready, carried wherever the current decides. But the mystics knew, and the neuroscientists have now confirmed, that the brain in its transition towards sleep enters a frequency called theta, the same brainwave state documented during deep meditation, during shamanic ceremony, during the moments that people across every culture and every century have described as contact with something greater than themselves. This is not metaphor. This is measurable. And it means that what you bring to the edge of that river, what you hold in your hand and in your mind as you cross, matters more than anything you do in the waking hours of the day. Now, your birth date, not the number on your driver's license, not the date your family celebrates with cake. I mean the specific sequence of digits that marks the moment your soul touched down in this body. In numerology, in Kabbalistic teaching, in the African Ifa tradition, in the Hebrew understanding of names and essence, that date is not administrative information. It is a vibrational signature. It is the cosmic address of your arrival. And for most of your life, you have been praying without saying your address, knocking on a door, and when asked who's there, answering, nobody important, someone small. You probably don't remember me. There was a woman, call her Maria, or call her whatever name you carry, who had prayed every night for 11 years, faithfully, a candle, the same words, the same requests, and every morning she woke with the feeling that her prayers had stopped just above the ceiling. One night, an elder woman in her community sat beside her and asked, "When you pray, who do you say you are?" Maria said, "I say I am a sinner. I say I am small. I say I am not worthy. But I ask anyway." The elder was quiet. Then she said, "And you wonder why heaven doesn't recognize the knock? You are knocking on a door, and when they ask who is there, you say, 'Nobody important.'" She paused, Tonight, write the day you were born on your hand, and when you close your eyes, say your own name to God the way a child says it to a parent who has been searching for them. Maria did it that night, more out of love for the elder than out of belief. She wrote the numbers slowly. She woke the next morning and, for the first time in 11 years, she did not remember the weight she had carried to bed. The same life, but something had shifted, like a room rearranged while she slept. Now, before I tell you exactly how to write it and where, I need you to understand one thing. If you do this in the wrong hand, the effect reverses. I will tell you which hand in a moment. Here is what you will do tonight in the 20 minutes before sleep. Turn off every screen. Sit on the edge of your bed in silence for 60 seconds, and then take a simple pen and write your full birth date, day, month, year, on your left palm. The left hand is the receiving hand. In Hermetic tradition, in Kabbalistic teaching, in Hindu mudra practice, the left side of the body is the channel of receptivity. What enters, what is given, what is drawn inward. Neurologically, your left hand is governed by the right hemisphere of your brain, the hemisphere of intuition, of symbolic thinking, of emotional depth. You are not writing on skin, you are writing on a bowl held open. Write each number slowly, and as you write it, whisper it aloud. The combination of writing, seeing, and speaking engages 3 sensory channels at once, and neuroscience confirms this deepens intention anchoring in a way that no single channel can achieve alone. If you are going to do this tonight, and I believe you are, honor the knowledge you have just received. Make sure you are subscribed and that the bell is on, because in the coming days I will share what to do on the morning after the 3rd night. What you do in the first 5 minutes of waking matters as much as what you do in the last 5 minutes before sleep. You will not want to miss that. Look at your dominant hand right now. Look at your palm. Notice the lines. That map already exists. We are simply adding a coordinate tonight. Now, the 3 nights. The first night, you may notice you fall asleep faster than usual. Some people report dreams that feel unusually vivid, though they can't hold them upon waking. What is happening neurologically is called pre-sleep intention, a documented phenomenon where setting a specific cognitive focus before sleep increases the likelihood that your mind will process that material during REM cycles. The second night, the subconscious has been signaled twice. Some people wake in the night with a name, a memory, a feeling of warmth they cannot explain. Others simply wake feeling lighter, with no cause they can identify. And then the third night. 3 is the number of completion in virtually every major spiritual tradition. Father, Son, Holy Spirit. The 3-day resurrection, the novena, the shamanic initiation. By the third night, your body knows what is coming. The transition into sleep has been transformed from an unconscious collapse into a conscious crossing. Something shifts, not always with drama, but unmistakably. The first night you plant the seed. The second night you water it. The third night the roots have found their depth. You won't see the tree yet, but something underground has already changed direction. Everything I have told you so far is true, but what I have not told you yet is the part that the ancient traditions considered the most dangerous to reveal, because once you know it, you cannot unknow it. This practice does not work if you enter it as a test. If you lie down tonight holding the pin in one hand and a measuring stick in the other, watching, waiting, arms crossed inside your own chest, you have already closed the door you were trying to open. And this is not a spiritual opinion. The neuroscience is unambiguous. Cognitive ambivalence in the minutes before sleep, the simultaneous holding of belief and doubt, activates the very part of the brain that this practice depends on going quiet. You cannot cross the threshold with one foot on each side. The book of James says it plainly. The one who doubts is like a wave of the sea, driven and tossed, and that person should not expect to receive anything. A bowl with a hole in it cannot hold water. You can fill it as many times as you want, and it will always be empty by morning. So tonight, just for one night, seal the crack. You can doubt again tomorrow if you need to, but tonight, hold the bowl whole. Enter this practice not because you are certain it will work, but because you have decided to act as though you are worth the attempt. You now hold something that most people will lie down tonight without. The knowledge that sleep is not an ending, but a crossing. That your birth date is not a number, but a name. That your left palm is not skin, but a bowl. And that 3 nights of conscious intention can do what 11 years of exhausted prayer could not. Because you are finally knocking on the door and telling them who you are. This is not information. This is a key. And keys only work when someone decides to put them in the lock. Someone you love is lying down tonight with a cracked bowl. They have been trying, and they are tired, and they do not know this window exists. You were guided here. Perhaps you were guided here so you could be the one who sends this to them. Share this with one person tonight. Not because they need to watch a video, but because you might be the reason they finally sleep in peace. Before you close this, before tonight, before you pick up that pen, go to the comments and write this declaration. Read it slowly before you type it. Let it be the last thing your mind holds before it rests. Write, I enter sleep as a child of God. My name is known. My date is written. I am ready to receive. Amen. This is not a comment. This is a covenant. And every person who has written it before you is a witness. Picture yourself tonight, the room quiet, the screen dark, looking down at your left palm and seeing your own birth date written there in your own handwriting. That moment, when you look at those numbers, is the moment you remember something you knew before you had language to say it. You were expected. You were placed. You were given a day and a body and a life that belongs to no one else. God does not need your perfection to find you. He only needs you to write your address.